All right, Mike, thank you so much for that. Meanwhile, the tri-state getting hit with another day of stifling, sweltering heat, and some areas will have a higher heat index than others.
Yeah, Mike was just talking about it. So that code red alert in effect in New York City, which brings together all the agencies, right, to protect vulnerable residents. Emergency Management Commissioner Christina Farrell is here overseeing these agencies, and she is live in studio to talk to us about what is going on in the city. So here we go. Good to see you, Commissioner.
Good to see you. Thanks.
I think this is our first time talking to you as Commissioner, by the way. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, it's been 30 years, really, since New York has seen heat like this, particularly in May, earlier than before. So how do you kind of prepare for this in the month of May?
Yeah, so it is very early, as you said, but we have been preparing. You know, we've been doing so much preparation as we always do, but also as we know what a busy summer we're going to have. So we were at the beginning of the week focused on the strike. Luckily, that's over, pivoted quickly to heat. We do have cooling centers open today. There are north of 570. People can go to nyc.gov/beattheheat. Mostly libraries, older adult centers, places like that. And as was just said, we are going to get a break in a few, 8-9 hours.
But a lot of pieces to this puzzle here. So how many agencies are involved when it comes to rallying the troops for a code red activation?
Yeah, so we actually have been talking to all the agencies this week because it's been such a busy week. Because in addition to the cooling centers, school is still in session, obviously, for another month. We want to make sure that kids are safe. Also looking at the power grid, making sure everything has been, not to jinx anything, but everything has been holding up, well, but we're always talking to Con Ed, looking at that, and just monitoring everything to see if there are any impacts from this extreme heat.
Yeah, there were some new rules kind of in place for schools in particular, right? If they reach a certain temperature, lights got to go off or whatever, maybe move students. Were any schools reaching dangerous temperatures yesterday or the day before because of what was happening outside?
So I've been speaking to operations over there at schools. They have 1,400 schools. They only had 34 incidents that they had to escalate, and that wasn't getting into any dangerous. It was some issues with HVAC, things that we see. 1,400 schools. There's going to be things here and there, but everything has been smooth.
Did those schools have to close?
No, it was more, making sure moving kids into another room, minor things, but we want to be on top of it before it escalates into an evacuation or something.
Speaking of kids, a lot of families were trying to take matters into their own hands as they tried to keep cool. We had our reporter James Ford in East Harlem yesterday. Apparently, the sprinklers were not on. Parents had to take matters into their own hands. Even after calling 311, they still were not cut on. So typically when there's an emergency heat advisory, do they automatically come on? Who is the first person to notify if they are not?
311 is always a good call. Like we said, it is early. And so a lot of things activate Memorial Day weekend, which is coming up. But, we can definitely look into that. There's a big sprinkler outside our office at Cadman Plaza. And I know at Emergency Management, I've seen kids in and out the last 2 days. But we can definitely look in to make sure that those sprinklers are up and running.
Obviously some areas are hotter than others, right? I know we were talking to our meteorologist earlier. Places like the Bronx in particular, Staten Island, northern Manhattan, those get hotter. So do you do things differently in those areas or open more centers, or is it kind of even spread throughout the 5 boroughs?
So 575 centers, I think is a good coverage. We do look, there's the heat vulnerability index, which is, like you're saying, areas that may have more, less green space, things like that. So we definitely look. We have operations staff on our team that are out looking if we see anything. We have a lot of community partners who let us know. So we want to look across the city, but like you said, if there are specific areas, we will jump on that quickly.
And you have been pretty busy, as we mentioned, newly appointed commissioner. Congratulations once again, appointed in February. Since then, of course, we were hit by that major snowstorm. Now we got the whammy with this heat wave. I wonder, when it comes to snow versus heat, what is the hardest to respond to? What takes the most effort?
It's all. It is all a lot. Each hazard, brings specific challenges, things with it. But, that's what we're here for. I've been doing this a long time. I joined the agency 23 years ago. We have a fantastic team. And like I said, we're really gearing up for the summer. We know, the World Cup is starting in just a few weeks. We're doing a lot around July 4th. So this is all maybe preparation as we get, because the sun, the heat, rain, none of that's going to stop just because of World Cup and everything. So this is a chance for us to get a little more prepared. And, we're here for it.
Yeah. Brought you on to talk about weather, but while I have you here, I do want to ask, just because it's such a talker and people have been really kind of talking about this. I don't know if you were involved in it at all, but that incident with the manhole and the woman who fell through it, if emergency management had to respond to it at all, it is a rare instance. It seems like a truck was the one who kind of dislodged that, but is there anything were you involved in that?
We were not.
Yeah.
We do talk to Con Ed a lot. That was, it was a tragic incident that happened. Everybody is asking the questions, looking. Once is too much, obviously. So, making sure that if there is anything, Department of Transportation, obviously Con Ed, other agencies, making sure if there is anything that can be done to make sure that that never happens again.
It's just awful. All right,
no, for sure.
Commissioner Farrell, thank you for coming in today. Hopefully you stay cool and the team stays cool today. Cadman Plaza, where that sprinkler is?
It is. Come on over.
Okay, we'll be there. We'll head on over. All right.
Thank you
good
so
to see you.
much.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
We'll be right back.